guys, this is Michelle from ShellyDippity.com, and today I wanted to show you how to make these cute little pumpkin treat boxes with a little jack-o'-lantern face using Stampin'Up's Jar of Haunts stamp set. They hold about 2 Hershey nuggets. You could put erasers in there as well, or any kind of small treat or little supply you have in there to stuff it with. They're really easy to make. We will be using Stampin'Up's Jar of Haunts stamp set, which coordinates with the Every Day Jars Framelits. The Every Day Jar Framelits come with the Jars of Love stamp set as a bundle in the regular catalog, but it also goes with the Jar of Haunts and the Jar of Cheer from the Christmas catalog. So 3 stamp sets coordinate with these framelits, which makes it really handy to have. We'll be using the jar and the matching lid, and we'll be needing 2 of each for the front and back of this project. So to save some time, I went ahead and pre-cut out 2 jars using pumpkin pie cardstock from Stampin'Up and 2 lids using the black cardstock. Any black cardstock you have will do. You just need 2 of each. So I'm going to put these to the side for now. I will be using the jack-o'-lantern face out of here. Usually I would stamp the jar, but there's no need to do that for this project, so I'm just going to grab the jack-o'-lantern face. You could also do the pumpkin for the record if you wanted to have a pumpkin instead of a jar. So I'm also going to use the hardwood background stamp from Stampin'Up just to give it a little texture, a little background, that little something extra. You can see from the sample here that I kind of used it. It's just lightly, but it gives it a little extra something, a little fill layer as I call it. So I'm just going to lay the background stamp down here, and I'm going to ink it up using pumpkin pie, from Stampin'Up. And I'm just going to ink up one side that I'll be working with. I don't need to ink up the whole stamp here. And since it's one of the big stamps, it's nice to just lay it down flat and put your cardstock on top of it. And I just kind of press it down to make sure it inks up the whole cardstock evenly here, the whole jar. So you can see that one came out nice. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. And just press it down, make sure it inks it all up. And that one is done. So I'm just going to put this to the side since we're done with it. It left some sticky stuff on my mat, but that's okay. So now I have my 2 jars with their background. So I will be needing to do the jack-o'-lantern face. Sorry for the mess here. That you see on my sample here. So for that, I'm going to use some basic black ink. If you have a Memento, StazOn, any kind of black ink will work for this. Just make sure it's dark so that it shows nicely over your background and on your orange cardstock here. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it in the center there to get a nice little image. And I'm only going to do the front, of course. The back doesn't need another face. So there we have the jack-o'-lantern face. Now we're going to do the bottom, the base, the little box that actually holds the treat. And you're going to be needing a 3.5 by 3 inch sheet of paper. So, and I just scored it 1 inch in from each edge, pretty much. So 1 inch in, that's how tall the borders are going to be. And then I went ahead and trimmed 2 sides of it. So it's kind of hard to show here, but you'll see it better when I actually make the box here. But I took some paper snips and I just snipped 2 edges, and just make sure they're kind of 2 matching edges. Don't do the 2 edges to a corner because you'll cut the corner off of a sheet of paper. So it'll make sense once if you're doing this along with me, or once you do this. So and then we're going to use some adhesive. I'm going to bring out my fast fuse here, and a little goes a long way, you know, because this is a really strong adhesive. So I'm just going to do a little bit on each of the 4 corners here, so that to hold my box together. And then I'm going to bring the 2 sides in, and then the center flap up, and that makes one of the sides. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Bring the little 2 side flaps in and bring the middle one up, and that forms the little box. And it's just perfectly sized and shaped to hold the Hershey nuggets. So I know, I think this is so adorable. It perfectly fits these two nuggets. I've also done some with erasers for the kids that couldn't have sugar and things like that. So any kind of really small treat or little supply item will fit into this little box. And you can also alter the dimensions to fit whatever candy you're planning to put in it. I have made some bigger ones that hold fun-sized Snickers and things like that. So now I'm just putting some adhesive on the lids, of course, to attach them to the jars, like you would normally. And then the back one. There we go. So this one is a little bit off, not perfectly to the edge there, but it will do. And I'm going to take out my Wink of Stella pen. I have them in this, in this color, gold, and in clear. But I'm going to use the gold one for this because I think it'll look nicer on the black. And I've seen a lot of people using Wink of Stella on dark cardstock, especially black and orange stuff for Halloween, and it looks fantastic. So I just love the look of this as an accent. It just really gives it a little shimmer, a little bling. I like a little bit of bling on most of my projects. So, but this is definitely optional. Go ahead, you can always decorate this however you want, but I'm trying to show you, see if you could see that there. Just a little bit shimmer on the jar there. And I'll do a little bit on the back just to kind of add a little something on the back here. So, and cover this back up. So I'll try to bring it up. It's hard to see on camera, I'm sure, but it just shimmers a little bit when you move it in the light. So try to get that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back so I can adhere it to the box. I just put it at the bottom because the top doesn't need it doesn't make contact with the box, so it doesn't really need the adhesive, and do the same thing on the back. Okay, and now it's adhered. So I will be bringing the two top parts up together like this. And a lot of people like to put adhesive on the lid, but since I will be giving these to my mom's class, I'm just going to use this twine. You could use black twine as well to tie it up without adhesive. So that's just a matter of preference. If you wanted, I have orange twine as well, black twine, whatever colored Halloween twine you want would go fine with this. And again, I'm not going to adhere the top because I am giving it to my mother-in-law's kids in her classroom, and I don't want them to have to break open adhesive, so I'd rather just have them untie this box and get to their candy. Alternatively, you could also use any kind of ribbon, anything, just whatever your preference is for this to use on here. So I'm just going to attempt to tie a knot, a little bow here. And I was also going to say, if you don't like the jar image for this, feel free to use the pumpkin, whatever kind of die you like. I just think the jars are really cute and really in this season, but I've seen a lot of people do these exact same little type of box or a little different size box and use a pumpkin in the front and back instead of the mason jar. So again, you can play around with it and come up with something that you like. So I'm just going to trim off the ends here. And there you have it. Cute little treat boxes for easy to make, just a few minutes, and really cute to hand out for Halloween. So again, I'll put the dimensions at the bottom, and please let me know if you have any questions. And have fun. Happy Halloween. Happy crafting. Oh, and as always, you can always go to my website at www.shellydippity.com for more projects and ideas.